Pigeon fanciers, in the upcoming video, Rodney G interviews champion racer Ken Easley. We hope you enjoy this video.
Hey, this is your host, Rodney G, and welcome to the Pigeon Academy show. This is a live session. We are coming to you live from New York City, and we're going to be doing a really good interview today with one of the champion racers that just scored 5th place in the South Africa $1 million race. And that gentleman is none other than Ken Easley of Ken Easley & Son Racing Loft. We're going to have him on in a minute. Again, welcome to this part of our show. We're going to be bringing you a lot of live things, a lot of interviews with all type of fanciers all over the world. We have Mr. Easley in the cut with us. He's going to be kicking it with us today. And we're going to have a really good show. We want to bring you some really good pigeon information. And of course, we want to have some fun. So we're going to try to bring Ken on and bring him up here. So here we go. Give me 1 second. Ken, can you hear us? All right, we're having a little technical difficulty, but we're going to get Ken on in a second. Hey, Ken, can you hear us?
I can hear you and I can see you.
All right, there we go. There we go. Ken, welcome to the Pigeon Academy show today. How you doing?
Great, thank you.
All right,
Thanks for having me on.
There we go. There we go. Hey, Ken, first of all, we want to congratulate you in your 5th place scoring out in the South Africa $1 million race. Congratulations for placing there and representing the USA and fanciers all over the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Rodney. I felt very blessed.
Ken,
you know, my son and I, we've been trying for quite a while and trying different pairs of pigeons, and we finally, hit on the right one.
Ken, where were you actually when you got the news that you had scored 5th place in the race? What were you doing at that time?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say, but the truth is I was laying in my bed next to my wife with my pillow propped up, watching the show live, the video, the South African live feed. And I started getting all of these congratulations from text and things. And I thought, what's going on? I don't see any pigeons back yet. And I touched my screen and I had it on pause the entire time, so I missed it. I was probably half asleep, I guess.
Ken, how long you been trying to score first place, and how long you been involved in the race?
Let's see. I started racing in the South African race probably in 2010,
Mm.
so about 9 years, eight years.
Hey, Ken, I've looked up the records. I've been following the race myself, and you really did some great scoring in 2016. Can you tell the audience about your scoring back in 2016?
Sure. I have Conbird as my base breeder. I'm sure you're aware of that. And he's a Claus on half, and Birdie, which is Soodhoff Van Beers, both out of Germany on the other half. And I had been working on that line, and I had a son, Mighty Mouse, um, and I mated him to a Hercules hen
Mm.
and sent the youngster over there named Mukiwa. And it's a unusual name. It comes from the movie Blood Diamond. It means a white boy in Africa in Swahili.
Mm.
And so I sent that bird over there, and of course, it ended up, being on the first drop of the car races, and it won the hotspot car race first prize, Ace Pigeon, and won money on 3 car races as well, and it was 82nd on the final.
Oh, so you
It was a
scored
good race.
a first place
Yeah,
in the hot spot race?
first place hotspot car race winner. What they do is they gather the averages for all the car races, and whoever has the fastest time against the distance of all races combined is the hotspot ace winner, and that's what Mukiwa won.
Mukiwa. Mm.
Hmm.
I like that name, Ken.
Thank you.
Yes. Ken, tell us about your family of pigeons that you're actually keeping. What can you tell us about the family of pigeons that you're keeping that you're racing out in South Africa?
Well, my base is the Claus Birdie lines, and I have a little bit of both. I originally traveled over to Germany and visited Alphonse Claus with my son, and hand selected 29 youngsters. Conbird was one of those, and Blue Power was one, Victoria, and a few
Okay.
others. And they've done really well. And then I've added some other African winners like Puggle. He was first to the loft by 5 minutes, but he didn't trap until 4 more birds came and landed 5 minutes
Mm.
later, and he trapped in
Wow.
them. And I also bought the second place winner, Sunts. And both of those birds have some Gunther praying in their background. And so I paired them together. Seems to be a really nice cross. I'm getting some really nice young birds. I also bought the fourth, fifth, and sixth place, which is Renee and Sade. And Sade is the father of the fifth place winner this year. Um, he was also the knockout winner,
Mm.
which is really cool.
Right, right.
I wanted that trophy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We pulled up a couple of pictures of your birds from your Facebook page, and it seems like every bird was looking like a quality pigeon. Every time we put something up, all the birds just looked fantastic. We just couldn't, understand how the quality is there. It seemed like in all your pigeons.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We first off, we believe in good health, and we think that that's a great part of our success. We try to keep the pigeons as healthy as possible by using expanded metal graded floors. I've used those since 1994,
Mm.
and I've got them about 10 feet up off the ground is the bottom of my loft.
Right.
Uh, Coyotes can't get to them. They're on 4x4 steel post. So snakes can't get up there because they can't crawl up the post. and I've got two sets of wire. I've got another set of wire about 1 foot underneath the expanded metal, and the expanded metal is real heavy, and you can walk on it. It's strong. And then the other wire down below is like fencing wire. It's like 3 by 2, and
Right.
it keeps the hawks from hanging underneath. I had a problem with that before. So that the birds stay really healthy like that. And of course, I feed them Versalaga, Black Label, IC feed from Belgium, and I also give them the Versalaga all-in-one. The all-in-one's really good. It has everything that the pigeons need, so you're safe that they're not losing form or health, or their immunity's not dropping.
So Ken, with the Versalaga Black Label, are you feeding that year round or just during the breeding season?
I feed it year round. There's two different mixes. One of the ones I mix is Energy. It's
The
has a
Energy
lot of,
Plus.
yeah, it's
Mm,
really nice. It's got a lot of hulled sunflower and safflower in it, and a lot of other nice little oil seeds. And so
right,
I give them that in the when they're molting, and then when they're breeding and raising babies, I give them the Black Label.
right.
Those I don't know if you've ever seen it up close or not. If you haven't, you can see it online on their website. But it has black corn in it, and it's got red corn in it. And
Oh, I've
those
seen that.
I picked up a pamphlet from them while I was at the Pigeon Gala from
Right.
their sales rep out of Volkman Feed Factory in California. And I was reading in there, and it says it's high in polyphenols. Anyway, it's really good for pigeons. It keeps their blood clean and helps their immunity.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you, Ken. When we spoke off camera, I went over and I got me a couple of bags of that Black Label, and I said, I'm gonna take advantage of the jewels and get myself mentored up with the right people. And that's one of the things that we love about airing the Pigeon Academy show. Is it's a great platform to teach other racers to build themselves up as great fanciers. We really appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you, and I'm happy to be here. You know, the feed is really important. Another thing about that feed that I like, and one of the reasons that I was willing to pay an additional $6, $7 a bag for
Mm,
the feed because of the shipping, uh, is because it has two pellets in it. It's got a green pellet and a gold pellet, and those have vitamins, minerals, vegetables, all the things that the pigeons need. So
right.
they're getting a complete diet. I own my own business. I have a construction company, and I work a lot of hours. So for me, I need to make sure that my birds are getting, you know, everything they need to be successful. And I don't have as much time as I would like to shred up beets and carrots and spinach and those sorts of things.
Okay. Okay. Ken, tell the viewers that's watching the show now. I mean, you must have a good 20, 30, 40 breeders. Once you start breeding your youngsters, how do you choose who's going to go to which race? What do you see in a youngster?
Well, the first thing that I look at is it really healthy? And health and alertness kind of go hand in hand. The two can be a little bit confusing. Sometimes when a pigeon's standing up really beautiful and tight feathered and looks nice, it's because it's in absolute tip top form. And one of the things I look for right off the bat. And then also, I check the feathers to make sure there's no malformed feathers. Malformed feathers in youngsters typically means something happened during the time that they were being raised that's a cause for concern. They may end up being a great old bird, but those kind of birds, I'm going to keep them and fly them local where I can manage any difficulties they have. When you send to a one loft race, bird needs to be standing up, needs to be fit, and it's got to be alert. alert, you can see that by a bird that's really looking around a lot. They're catching everything. If they hear a sound, they turn their head to see where it's coming from.
Mm.
If you're holding them, they're constantly looking around to try to figure out where their loft is at and what they need to fly to in case they get out of your hands. Those sorts of things I look for.
Right.
Clean feet. I want to see really clean feet. If a youngster's got, you know, pigeon poop on his feet, or his feet are dirty and his band's got dried pigeon poop on it, I don't particularly care for that bird as far as a candidate to go to a one loft race. I want those numbers on that band to be really clear and pretty and clean, and the feet to feel warm and clean.
Mm.
And it depends on what race you're sending the bird to. There's uh, different sizes win at different races.
What
You
are
know,
what are your three favorite races right now? If
my three favorites. Uh, well, South Africa $1 million race has always been one of my favorites, uh, and Victoria Falls is quickly becoming a favorite. And the Hoosier $1 million race, I think Jim Ward runs as good a race as anybody. In fact,
Mm.
I think he's probably one of the top handlers in the U.S. when you look at the amount of pigeons. I know there's some other guys out there that do a fantastic job, over at the Breeders' Cup and things like that. But for the amount of pigeons that he's handling, Jim, he does a fantastic job. His returns are good every year. Another small race that I would like to mention, actually, there's two if I have time. I've been really impressed with the Arizona Classic. I
Okay.
send Steve two birds over there, three birds every year since he started the race, and I've always gotten two back in the mail after the race is over. He does a great job. And then there's a new race, the Sooner Challenge, and it's in Oklahoma, and it's run by Rex Urbany. Rex is a straight up good guy. He does a fantastic job with the birds. He's careful, and you don't have to take my word for it. You can look at the stats. He was the number one race for returns and things in 2018. Um, but I could see that, So I'd say Arizona Classic, the Sooner, Hoosier. Those are great races.
Ken, what process do you normally take your youngsters through, if you don't mind telling us, before you send them to the run loft race? There seem to be a lot of different information out. Are you vaccinating? Not vaccinating? What do you recommend?
Well, for me, um, I like to make sure that the birds. I used to put them on the ground much earlier, and I've seen in Germany when I was traveling to Germany and Belgium and Netherlands and going into people's lofts. Their young birds, they waited until they were a little more feathered out before they put them on the floor. And so I've started kind of going back old school. I wait until the feathers underneath the arm are completely bloomed out, and
Right.
they're already jumping on the floor by themselves by then. And then after I see them eating and drinking in the loft with mom and dad a little bit, then I'll take them and move them. I think it gives them a little better start. And then when they're about 28 days old, I will count and see how many I have. And hopefully I have, about 40 of them or so ready to vaccinate. And I'll get my son and we'll get a bottle of Salbac and a bottle of PMV1 with herpes combo if we can get it. And he holds the birds, and I spray the necks, and I give them the vaccinations one at a time on each side of the skin of their neck. And then I give them about 10 days. And 10 days, I will fix. I put fresh pine needles in it, about this deep, so that their feet stay nice and clean and dry while they're traveling, um, and they're not down in the moist stuff on the bottom of the box. So that's pretty much our method.
Okay. Yeah. Ken, how many years have you been racing pigeons?
Well, that's a good question. I've had pigeons all my life. My father had pigeons, and my grandfather had pigeons. My father competed for many years with the Birmingham Rollers, and so did I. Competed for 22 years. We showed pigeons when I was growing up, French mondaines, Kimona tumblers, and I learned a lot about showing. Uh, After I won my Master Flyer Award in 2008, um, I already had two or three pairs of racing pigeons, and I started paying more attention to them. I had them when I was a boy, um, and I started reading about one loft races, and I thought I would really like to do that. Um, so Alphonse Claus, he won the World Ace Challenge in 2006. A fellow named Michael Goddard activated his pigeon because he didn't, and it won. And I thought, that's a German guy from another country, different, latitudes and longitudes, different weather, different climate, and it comes over here and beats all of our pigeons. I've got to get some of those.
Yeah.
So I started hunting around, and I finally found Alex Bisch. He spoke German, and I asked him if he could hook me up with Alphonse Claus, and he said, Ken, I've already been talking to him. And I said, well, I'd like to get some birds. And he said, let's put together a group. And so this was in 2007. And so I got my first Claus pigeons then. But later I traveled back and picked out 29 more myself. So if my first racing season here in the local club was 2008.
Okay.
So last year would have been 10 years for me paying particular attention to my racing pigeons.
And Ken, you only one loft racing, or you a club racer and one loft?
I was club racing, and we did really well. I mean, we had 32 club champions in 2010. We won first, second, third, eighth, ninth places in the 400-mile race. We had races where we won first through 12th, first through eighth. I had 24 on the drop in one race.
Wow.
We had the state champion. We had champion loft, champion average speed. I have several stacks of diplomas. I've won the 400-mile race several times here for young birds. Um, my son plays baseball, and as much as I love pigeons, there's nothing more important to me than watching my son play baseball. And it was getting in the way, the pigeon training was getting in my way. You can't train pigeons every day. And my son, he was 14, 15 years old playing on varsity in high school, and he needed somebody to drive him to practice.
Right. Definitely.
So I just dropped out of the club flying in 2015, and I've concentrated on one loft racing.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing the videos of your son, and I know we've been talking behind the scenes. We wish him a lot of luck in his journey to become a professional athlete. It'd be great to see that.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Um,
Kent, what advice would you have for somebody coming into the sport? What would be the three most important things they should be concentrating on? Let's say to start club racing, which is the first level.
well, for club racing, what you want to have is a really good loft, and you want to turn your loft to the south, and you want it to be wide open on the front and the bottom. The back and the sides need to be covered so they're blocking the cold north wind. You don't ever want
Okay.
to breeze on your pigeons. No drafts. They've got to be setting up high up in the top where it's clean and dry and no
Mhm.
drafts. You do that, you can keep condition on pigeons, and you got that sunshine shining in the front during the day in the wintertime, keeping them warm.
they'll hold their condition. If they start to lose condition, you can close them in a little bit more, learn to adjust. You want to keep the pigeons warm, but they have to have fresh air. If you go in a loft and there's dust flying everywhere and it makes you cough, those pigeons are living there 24/7, and it's not good for them. They don't do well at all. They get respiratory.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna be affected
pigeons,
by it.
oh yeah, pigeons
Oh yeah.
change out their breath. I was reading somewhere it's like 4 times a second while they're racing, and they've got like 8 to 12 different air sacs that they're constantly interchanging. Well, they're not interchanging; it actually goes through. Uh, so their breathing system has to be just perfect for them
I
to
understand.
compete. So my suggestion would be an outstanding loft. I think that's probably number one for club flying. Good
Okay.
pigeons, second, and a mentor, I would say, would be third.
Okay. A good mentor.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
you can win a lot if you can find an older guy in the club that's winning a lot and go over and take some donuts and coffee and see if you can't get yourself invited first. but
right there you go. Ken,
make
let me break real quick for a commercial break for the
sure.
audience. You know,
All
you
right.
guys and gals have been watching the Pigeon Academy show. We're here with champion racer Ken Easley from the Ken Easley and Son Racing Loft. A champion racer that just scored fifth place in the South Africa race. We have him here as our guest. You know, you're watching the Pigeon Academy show with your host, Rodney G. And we're going to come right back to Ken Easley here. And before we close, we're going to just finish up with a couple of more questions for Ken. Ken, what do you got on the horizon? What are you planning out this year? If you don't mind telling us, what's going on?
Well, our plan is to send out the very best birds we can to Hoosier,
Okay.
and several other of the top one loft races that we mentioned before, and see if we can be successful. We want to test out some of these new Africa pigeons that we bought, the winners in Africa and
Mm,
Portugal and Zimbabwe. See if we can incorporate those into our base con bird family.
right, right. One of the things, Ken, is we know you were on Piper as one of the breeders. Can you tell us about the Piper sale, the Best of the USA, that they had going on?
Sure. Yeah, they approached me probably 2 years ago, and I didn't really follow up and go for it then. And then they were having the Best of the USA, and they asked me again, and I said, "Yeah, I'll send some over." So I sent some over for that sale, and then for a Ken Easley exclusive sale in April. But there's really good birds there. I know the other guys that were selling, or most of them, and they have top-notch pigeons.
Oh, yeah.
They're very good birds, and it was exciting to see the USA over there. I think it's important that we all support each other. We all have the same quest. The pigeons are doing all of the work. We're just there to observe and try to not do anything to mess them up.
Mhm. I understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, Ken, we want to thank you again. We want to wish you the best of luck in the season. We're going to end the broadcast at this time. Again, thank you for coming on. We hope you can come back as a regular and keep us updated on your racing season and what your birds are doing out on the one love circuit. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ken Easley here at the Pigeon Academy show. So, Ken, thank you for being our guest today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Rodney. Take care.
All right. All right. Bless you, Ken.
Thank you. Bye bye.
body in the